How's it going, everyone? This is your Astrology Horoscope for the weekend of June 8th and 9th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moonbase. Hope you guys had a great week. Happy weekend already. This week just flew by. Saturn's slowing down, getting ready to go retrograde, so it's just like time is starting to compress in interesting ways. So, this weekend's going to be an interesting weekend with this moon in Cancer. A lot of emotional themes are going to pop up this weekend. This moon, right off the bat, is going to square the nodes come Saturday morning here. So, there's going to have to be some decisions made this weekend. And we may not know exactly what to do. We may feel like we're being pulled in multiple directions, and especially with themes in our relationship life. So this Venus and the Sun are going to make their exact squares to Saturn. So there are some difficult things in relationships that are going to have to be resolved this weekend. And yeah, with these moons squaring the nodes and Venus and the Sun squaring Saturn, there's definitely some hard lessons and some, more harsher, realistic themes popping up that have to be faced and communicated about and spoken about. There may be some things that haven't really been on the surface yet that start to surface up where it's like, well, this is the reality. This is the realistic picture of, everything that you may not have been straightforward about, or, there can be a little bit of confusion. But Saturn is helping us straighten these things out and be more realistic and be more practical and actually find solutions. Even when we can find solutions, the difficulty can be, which direction are we headed? Because we know we need to be secure and we need to do what's best for ourselves, but there are some things in relationships that are still being called to let go of. And some things that are more nagging or on the darker end of the spectrum, or things that are just kind of off in the distance but are still lingering, even though you can't see them. Out of sight, out of mind only goes so far with the South Node and Black Moon Lilith right now. So Mars is at the 29th degree of Aries. So this is the last big fiery charge with this Mars and Aries here. So as much tension that can pop up in relationships this weekend, and definitely having to face more realistic, difficult issues. I think we want to be able to channel this energy and transmute this energy in a physical way. And even anything that you've been trying to push forward on or anything you've been trying to accomplish, this weekend is this last bit of Mars fire energy that we're going to get. If you have any projects that you need to wrap a bow on, or yard work, shit that's just, this is the last big moment here, because then we're entering into Mars-Uranus territory. So things are going to start to get really unpredictable and really extreme. Mars will square Pluto, so that's the other challenging aspect that we're building towards here in the next few days. Mars and Pluto are going to square. So we're starting to feel this pressure. There's this pressure that's starting to build up with Venus and the Sun squaring Saturn. Mars getting ready to square Pluto at the last degree of Aries. And I'm pretty sure coming into Sunday, this moon is going to start to oppose Pluto after the moon squares these nodes. So, yeah, this moon will square Mars, so there's definitely going to be some conflicts that are going to need to be resolved. There's going to be some more harsher, difficult issues that we're going to have to face. And now here, going into Sunday, Mars ingresses into Taurus. So it came a lot quicker than I thought. So yeah, Mars is going to be at 0 degrees Taurus, getting ready to square Pluto here. So that means as we're going to the end of Sunday, this moon starting to make its opposition to Pluto. Yeah, going into Monday. So with Mars ingressing into Taurus and the moon on its way to make this T-square with Pluto to Mars, there's definitely going to be some challenges to be resolved this weekend. Definitely some conflict that can come up, especially about where people aren't being seen or heard, or their value is not being met, or, difficulty trying to connect, these kind of fixed issues, these more fixed sign issues are going to start to pop up here, moving towards the end of the week and going into next week. So I think the theme this weekend, especially the challenge with Saturn in our relationship sector, because there's been so much newness revolving around relationships. There's some things, where you fall into things so quickly that it's like, there's more to the whole picture than you may have realized. So it's important to not get overwhelmed with these things, but it's important to find solutions, and be as realistic as possible, not try to keep sweeping things under the rug or procrastinating. This is a big procrastinating energy. Even with Venus square Saturn, it's like, food doesn't even taste the same. Things are just more bland and dull. But it is kind of stripping away the illusion of sometimes when we get the rose-colored glasses on, especially with Neptune at 29 degrees. A lot of illusion shattering is definitely starting to ramp up at a much more rapid, quicker pace. And I think for sure with this T-square coming into next week, with the moon to Mars to Pluto, this is like some mad pressure cooker energy that can really open things up and really have to force us to look at things in a whole new way and, have to move very quickly and very swiftly. So next week is going to be a really interesting week coming straight into Monday. Man. And we don't want to be stuck in the same old kind of ego battles, especially when this moon comes into Leo. Like, there's a lot of fixed energy where it's just like, I'm not going to move. I'm happy where I'm at, and I don't want to see the whole picture. Sometimes whenever you just put the blinders up and you don't want to face the reality that this Venus and the Sun squaring Saturn are trying to bring into focus here so we can actually see the picture more clearly. We don't want to remain trapped by the fear of that, of like what we can't see. And as well, like with Mars coming into Taurus and knowing that it's on its way to Uranus and coming straight in, having to square Pluto, a lot of fear is going to pop up. We don't want to allow that to just trap us and keep us from moving forward. Because with Mars and Taurus, it's like, Taurus moves much slower. We just had Mercury in Taurus. Now Mars. It's like, I love Taurus placements, but some of my least favorite Taurus placements are Mars and Mercury. So, and it's having to be more methodical and, not rush things, be more patient, even when things get difficult. Because definitely some challenges are going to be popping up here with this Mars square Pluto. And now that Uranus is dispositing Pluto, and Mars is now in the same sign as Uranus. So a lot of exciting things are going to be boiling up. We may be pulled into so many different directions that we weren't really prepared for. You know, if you go look back, 1942, the last time Mars conjunct Uranus at the same exact degree in Taurus, which is pretty wild. So things are about to get really interesting, and maybe some big risks and some big payoffs can start to show up here at the same time, even when things get crazy. That's kind of how this Mars-Uranus energy is going to work. It's like, you know, shit's going to get crazy. You're going to have to move very quickly, but it may have been a blessing in disguise anyway. So it's going to be an interesting weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Peace out. Have a good one.